Today, we're diving into a really fascinating study about a completely new way to look at chronic kidney disease. It's called the GRAD System, and it's a protocol that mixes modern biophysics with some pretty ancient wisdom to go after one of the biggest health challenges in the world. So let's see what the science actually says.
To get why this research matters so much, you've got to start with this number: 700 million. That's roughly how many people are suffering from chronic kidney disease, or CKD, all across the globe. It is a massive, massive health problem.
For people with severe CKD, the options are usually pretty limited, and honestly, they're incredibly tough. We're talking about a lifetime of dialysis or a kidney transplant. These are treatments that carry this immense physical and financial weight that a lot of people just can't handle.
And all of this has really created a global crisis. It's made the search for a safe, affordable, and effective alternative more urgent than it's ever been.
The study itself puts it very bluntly. This quote really hammers home the exact problem the researchers were up against. They weren't just trying to manage symptoms. They were looking for a way to possibly turn things around and free patients from being so dependent on machines and drugs. And that leads us right to the potential solution at the very center of this study, a protocol they call the GRAD system. So what is it exactly? Well, GRAD stands for gravitational resistance and diet. It was developed by Dr. Biswaroop Roy Chowdhury, and it's this integrative system that's built on three main pillars: a couple of biophysical therapies and a very specific diet, all with roots in both modern science and ancient Ayurvedic wisdom. Okay, so let's break down how these different parts are actually designed to work together to hopefully wake up the kidneys. The first pillar is a kind of gravitational therapy called head down tilt, or HDT. And yeah, it's pretty much what it sounds like. Patients lie down with their head tilted down at about a 10-degree angle. It sounds simple, right? But the effects on the body are pretty significant. So what's happening here is really fascinating. As you can see, that slight angle uses gravity to shift fluids around in the body. That shift causes a drop in certain hormones like aldosterone and renin. And the results? It shrinks the plasma volume and gives a major boost to the body's ability to get rid of sodium, a process called natriuresis. Basically, it helps your body flush out extra salt and fluid. Now for this second pillar, and this is where you can really see the blend of old and new. In modern science, it's called hot water immersion, but this exact same idea has been used for thousands of years in Ayurvedic medicine, where it's known as Avaga Sweta. So how does a hot bath help your kidneys? Well, when you're in water up to your neck, the water is pushing on your chest, but the air pressure on your head, which is outside the water, stays the same. That pressure difference creates something called negative pressure breathing, which actually makes the heart pump about 20% more blood, pushing it from your lower body up towards your torso. And the effects of this are just powerful. The study reports that hot water immersion can make you excrete 5 times more sodium, double your potassium excretion, and triple your urine volume. It's basically like a natural form of dialysis, helping to bring down body weight and swelling, which are huge problems for CKD patients. The last pillar is the diet. And it's not just any old diet. It's called the DIP diet, which stands for a disciplined and intelligent person's diet. It's a whole food, plant-based plan that's made to work together with the other two therapies. The key thing to understand here is the structure. Until 12 noon, patients only eat fruit. Then, for lunch and dinner, they use this 2-plate method. You have to finish plate 1 first, which is a specific amount of raw veggies based on your body weight. Only after you finish that can you move on to plate 2, which is your normal, home-cooked vegetarian meal. So we've got the 3 pillars: head down tilt, hot water immersion, and the DIP diet. But when they actually put it to the test, how did the GRAD system do? I mean, this is the big question, right? The study took 100 patients who were already dependent on dialysis. So what happened when they started this system? The headline number is this one: 75%. 75% of the patients who followed the protocol perfectly were able to stop dialysis completely. That is an absolutely game-changing result. If we look at the data for the 28 patients who really stuck to the system, the results are crystal clear. 3/4 of them became totally free of dialysis. And get this, the other 25% still saw a big improvement. They became partially free, which means they could at least cut back on how often they needed treatment. And it wasn't just about dialysis. Look at what happened with their medication. In that same group, A whopping 89% became either totally or partially free from their supporting drugs. That really points to a huge improvement in their underlying kidney function.
But the benefits weren't just for the most dedicated group. Across all 100 people in the study, every single one said their quality of life got better. The economic impact was also massive. More than half the patients saw their financial burden plummet by 70 to 90%. And really importantly, the study said there were no serious negative side effects from any of this. So, what does it actually take to follow this protocol day to day? Let's take a look at the actual commitment. Okay, here's the practical step-by-step checklist. You have to stick to the DIP diet strictly. Then there's 2 hours of head-down tilt, 2 hours of hot water immersion, and on top of that, daily self-monitoring. It's a serious commitment for sure, but as the study suggests, the potential reward is just immense. And this is how they kept track of everything. Patients used a daily log they called a pran sheet. They'd record all their key vitals, blood pressure, weight, urine output, any symptoms they were having. This daily feedback was a really crucial part of the whole process. This whole study just raises a huge question. It suggested if we combine a modern understanding of physics, like gravity and water pressure, with disciplined nutrition and ancient therapies, we might just unlock powerful new ways to treat not only kidney disease, but all kinds of other chronic conditions. The results here are really compelling, and it definitely leaves you wondering what other solutions might be hiding at that crossroads of old wisdom and new science.